What's up, guys? And uh, this is going to be an unusual video that I uh, wanted to do for a very long time, and that is a video about the MPAA rating system. And maybe I can educate you guys on what the MPAA rating system is if you're unaware of it. Like if you live in England or Canada or whatever, you might not know. If you live in another country, you might not know about the MPAA rating system. So, I will educate you guys and basically explain why I don't like the MPAA rating system. So anyway, for those of you who are unaware of what the MPAA rating system is, that it stands for Motion Picture Association of America, and their job is to give a film a rating based on a movie's content. The ratings are G, PG, PG-13, R, and NC-17. You may think that's simple, but let me tell you, it's more complicated than it seems. The MPAA is basically a group of idiots that think they have the right to say who should watch what at what certain age. Oh, by the way, I wrote a script in advance, so if you see me turn away, I'm looking at my script. And I brought water this time, because for my Batman review, at the end, I got into a coughing fit. So I don't want to replicate that. So yeah. But sometimes they give ratings out for some of the dumbest reasons I've ever heard. My personal favorite MPAA rating description for all the wrong reasons is the one for Twister. It's rated PG-13 for intense depiction of very bad weather. Then what does that make the Weather Channel? Rated NC-17? Another weird ratings reason is for Tim Burton's version of Alice in Wonderland, made in 2010. It's rated PG for fantasy action/violence involving scary images and situations, and for a smoking caterpillar. Was brief smoking too weak? Are they afraid that an insect will watch Alice in Wonderland and want to take up hookah as a result? Like, what the fuck, right? Yeah. Also, when the 2017 It movie came out, it was given an R rating for violence/horror, bloody images, and for language. There's nothing wrong with that. The rating is warranted, and it definitely gets it. The rating is short, sweet, and to the point. However, when It Chapter 2 came out in 2019, it was given an R rating for disturbing, violent content and bloody images throughout, pervasive language, and some crude sexual material. Okay, stop. What the fuck? What happened? Sorry for the language, but what happened? Why so strangely specific about It Chapter 2 when you didn't do that for It Chapter 1? For It Chapter 1, you were short, sweet, and to the point, but for It Chapter 2, you were so strangely specific. And what? Some crude sexual material? What crude sexual material are you talking about, MPAA? Just, are they referring to the naked old lady scene where we see, like an 8-foot-tall, like, ugly naked lady with orangutan titties? Is that what they're talking about? Or are they talking about the part where Stanley kills himself and you see his ass for a few seconds? Or maybe it's just like the sexual innuendos that were throughout the film. But It Chapter 1 had that, and it didn't. The It 2017 movie had that, and it wasn't given that rating reason. So I don't know why they gave that reason. Alright. Alright. Another hilarious rating reason is the one for 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey is rated R for strong sexual content including dialogue, some unusual behavior and graphic nudity, and for language. what unusual behavior are they referring to? Like, are they trying to say, like, is it because Christian Grey uses whips on Anastasia? Like, what the fuck? You know? Yeah. I could go on forever about weird MPAA ratings reasons, but I'll spare you the boredom. I will mention one more, though. Earlier this year, a little movie called The Batman was released, and there was a lot of and people were very excited and nervous about it. And I was really excited for the movie, honestly more than any other film in my life, because it was the one Batman film that I've waited my entire life to see, and I finally have it. Finally got it, yeah. And when there was a lot of speculation as to what the film would be rated. But yeah. And when the movie got a PG-13, people were kind of shocked and fans were outraged and people were kind of shocked. Even I was a little surprised that I got a PG-13, and I was worried for only about 10 minutes, and then I looked up what it was PG-13 for, and my worries were over when I read this. Strong, violent, and disturbing content, drug content, strong language, and some suggestive material. I was so happy. And the movie, like, oh yeah, it is very violent, very disturbing, and it was exactly what I wanted. But it didn't need an R rating to make that point. And it basically taught me something about filmmaking, is that you don't need an R rating in order to prove your point sometimes. So yeah. Alright. I'll take a moment to highlight Disney for a second. It seems like Disney has forgotten about the G rating, and the MPAA has forgotten about the G rating. Every movie they make now is either PG or PG-13. A lot of their animated films get PG ratings for literally no reason. Remember when The Hunchback of Notre Dame came out? It had a ton of disturbing imagery, and even a naked woman in a fireplace scene. And that movie was rated G. So why can't Frozen, Inside Out, Zootopia, Finding Dory, Lightyear, why can't those be G? It doesn't make sense. And also, some of their PG-13 properties do not live up to the PG-13 rating. Well, some do, like Pirates of the Caribbean and The Lone Ranger, John Carter, those are fine with PG-13. But, I mean, Alice in Wonderland had a Jabberwocky decapitation scene, and that got a PG. Yet, for Cruella, we see a woman get pushed off a cliff. We don't even see the landing. We don't even see her landing or hear her bone break or a bone break or something like that. And that got a PG-13. Like, how does that make any sense? I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make sense. But I guess it's like, what you could get away with in 2010 with a PG, you cannot get away with today. So I understand that, but it needs to stop. The MPAA really needs to get their shit together. And honestly, I forgot to write about this, but I do want to mention this. Sometimes movies get an R rating for literally one scene, or just for language. A classic example of this is the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Everybody watches that film every Thanksgiving. I know I watch it every Thanksgiving, or I at least try to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles every Thanksgiving. But there's a scene that gave the film an R rating, but honestly, I thought it was so worth it, and it's possibly my favorite scene in the movie. And basically, Steve Martin goes back to the car rental place because the car that he rented wasn't at the spot where it was supposed to be. He went to V5 or the place or the parking space where his car was supposed to be at, and it wasn't there. So he went back to the car rental place and started talking to the car rental lady, the lady who was running the stand, and he basically goes on this F-bomb filled rant. And then she's like, I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me. And he goes like, and I don't really care for the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. And he just goes on and on. I want a fucking car right fucking now. May I see your rental agreement? I threw it away. Oh boy, what? You're fucked. That scene was amazing! And I am, it is a shame that the movie got an R rating just for that scene, but honestly, it's so worth it. But honestly, it is the greatest scene in the film, in my opinion, and it's the most famous scene in the movie. But it kind of ruined the movie's family-friendly reputation. But yeah. And speaking of this, there's a movie called The King's Speech, where it's about King George VI and how he got through his speech disorder, and it's a phenomenal movie. I highly recommend it. But it was rated R just for one scene where he says, like, his therapist says, like, oh, you don't stammer when you swear. Oh, bag it off. Bloody bugger to you, beastly bastard. And then he starts saying, shit constantly, and then the therapist asks him, do you know the F word? Fornication? Oh, Bertie. And then he starts saying the F-bomb constantly. I'll have a mature content warning on the title. Don't worry about that. But anyway, the movie got an R rating just for that scene, but honestly, if they just deleted that scene, it could have gotten a PG for, like, thematic elements and smoking, or something like that. But yeah. So basically, the MPAA is almost outdated these days, and even kind of meaningless. When there's plenty of Parents Guide websites that you, like Common Sense Media, the Parents Guide of IMDb, Parent Previews. I mean, Common Sense Media is kind of a dumb website, but I do, like, if you're an overprotective parent, I do recommend it. But anyway, the rating system needs to reflect on those Parents Guides, and honestly, the MPAA just kind of needs to die out and just go to a Parents Guide. Just look it up. Just look up what's in the movie and you'll find out. Like, honestly, the MPAA doesn't even need to exist anymore, but I understand its obligation. Like, and also, they need to stop censoring filmmakers who work so hard to get their movies made and want to entertain as many people as possible. Imagine you made a movie and submitted it to the MPAA only for it to be rated R or NC-17. They tell you to change your movie just so it can get a proper rating. You can do one of three things. You can cut the film, you can change your vision to fit the MPAA, to fit their standards. You can file an appeal and get the movie, you can file an appeal in court, a long court battle, and get the rating changed without changing anything about the film. Or you could just accept the R or NC-17 because maybe that's what you wanted. I don't know why anyone would receive an would want an NC-17 film, except for Blonde, the new Marilyn Monroe movie. I would like to see that. That's on Netflix. That's going to be on Netflix, by the way. And yeah, but anyway, when a film receives an NC-17 rating, it's basically almost banned. most theaters won't play it, and most stores won't even sell it. And also, NC-17 films are also disqualified from the Oscars. Despite the fact that the new Marilyn Monroe biopic, Blonde, the Academy has been hyping up that film because it's going to be released around Oscar season, and hopefully it'll be like the first NC-17 movie to be nominated for Best Picture. I know Last Tango in Paris, which is also rated NC-17, was nominated for a couple Oscars, but it was rated X at first in 1972. Oh yeah, the X rating existed back in the 60s and was used up until 1990 and was replaced with NC-17. Sorry, I forgot to say that, but anyway. What was I gonna say? Yeah, but Blonde, the new Marilyn Monroe biopic, it seems like they're gonna, do justice to the NC-17 rating. And I hope it does, because an R rating would have been too obvious. And I saw the trailer for it, and I thought it looked very good. But anyway. Alright, I want to give a quick note. Quick note I want to give is about a movie called 8th Grade. 8th Grade is a great coming-of-age movie about an introverted 13-year-old girl in her last week of 8th grade. The movie is very good and I highly recommend it. But the movie received an R rating, meaning that most of its target audience, mainly 8th graders, were unable to watch it. Even my mom told me about it, and we agreed on how absurd it was. She was like, oh, 8th grade, there's a movie called 8th Grade and it's rated R. It doesn't make any sense. And I agree with that. Alright, but a little personal story. When I was growing up, my mom was very protective of the movies I could watch. Well, my dad was kind of chill about it, but yeah. My dad, he showed me the Blues Brothers at 8 years old, and it was the first R-rated film I ever watched, or at least I remember. He told me that he's let me watch Scarface at 7, but I don't remember that. If a film was rated PG-13, R, or NC-17, my mom would just say no. This happened up until 2011 or 2012, when my parents were laid off, and both my parents were laid off at the same time from their jobs, and we decided to be flea market vendors just to make extra cash. So my mom would hand me a $20 bill and tell me, and say, buy whatever you want. So I went to, a movie table. A table where a bunch of DVDs were. They would go there, every week. So I would always, pick up a couple DVDs there, and that's when I started buying R-rated films on my own, when I was around 13, 14. And I slowly realized that these movies are not that bad. I thought R-rated films were an exclusive club or something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway. And I realized that film is art, and that art is subjective. Everybody is entertained / offended by something. Yeah. Film is art, art is subjective. If you're offended by something in a film, just don't watch it. It's that simple. Also, if you don't want your kids to watch something, you have every right to do that. But make sure that you fact check before you do so. But anyway, that's it for the video, and I hope you guys learned something from this, even though I'm just a 25-year-old guy who is not even a parent, but I've seen more movies than most parents have, so I know my shit. So anyway, I mean, I don't like to brag about it, and I don't like people that brag about being a film buff, but yeah. I've seen more movies than most parents have, and a lot of my family members that are parents ask me for advice, like, oh, is this okay for my kids? Is that okay for my kids? And I tell them either yes or no, because they don't know. They're unaware. So I just tell them. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope you learned something from this, and see you later. Bye.